They say prison is where hope goes to die. But on one quiet night in a Texas correctional facility, hope showed up in the most unexpected form, wearing a badge. Officer Emily Carter had worked death row for almost 8 years. She had escorted inmates to their final meals, listened to confessions whispered through steel bars, and learned one rule the hard way: never get emotionally involved. That rule was about to break. The prisoner's name was Daniel Moore, convicted of murder, scheduled for execution in 72 hours. Unlike most inmates on death row, Daniel wasn't angry. He wasn't begging. He wasn't screaming innocence. He was calm. To calm, Emily noticed it during her night shifts, while others paced their cells or stared at walls. Daniel spent hours quietly writing in a small, worn notebook. One night, as she passed his cell, he spoke, "Officer, may I ask you something?" She hesitated. Conversations were discouraged. But something in his voice wasn't demanding. It was fragile. "What is it?" she asked. "I was told we get one last wish." Emily nodded. Within reason. Daniel swallowed hard. "I don't want special food. I don't want visitors." He looked up at her. "I want to apologize." Emily frowned. "To who?" "My victim's daughter." The request hit her like a punch. Contacting a victim's family was strictly forbidden. It could reopen wounds. It could cause chaos. It could end her career. She shook her head. "That's not possible." Daniel nodded slowly, as if he expected that answer. "I understand," he said, then quietly added, "Then at least let me write her a letter. And make sure she gets it." Emily walked away, but she didn't sleep that night. She kept thinking about the notebook, about the way Daniel's hand shook when he spoke her name. The next evening, she broke protocol. She stopped at his cell. "If you write the letter," she said softly, "I can't promise anything." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "That's all I ask." For hours, he wrote. He erased. He rewrote. When he finally handed Emily the letter, his hands were trembling. "I don't ask forgiveness," he had written. "I only want her to know that every day I wake up knowing I destroyed her life, and I'm sorry." Emily read it in her car after her shift and cried. Against every rule, she contacted her supervisor. Against every warning, she contacted the victim's family anonymously. Days passed. Then something unbelievable happened. The daughter agreed to read the letter. She didn't forgive him. She didn't excuse him, but she wrote back. "I don't hate you anymore," the letter said. "That hatred was destroying me." Emily delivered the response to Daniel the night before his execution. He read it silently and pressed the paper to his chest. "Thank you," he whispered, "for giving me peace." The next morning, as Emily escorted Daniel to the execution chamber, he stopped. "Officer Carter," he said, "you didn't just give me a last wish." He met her eyes. "You gave her freedom." After the execution, Emily resigned. She said she could no longer work in a system that forgot the power of humanity. Years later, the victim's daughter reached out to her. They now speak regularly. And that letter? It's framed on Emily's wall, a reminder that even in the darkest places, compassion can still change lives. Sometimes, the most shocking last wish isn't about dying peacefully. It's about letting someone else live.